I haven't really been paying that close attention for the second half of the year. But I'm quite looking forward to An Invite to Eternity Tales of Nature Disrupted, which it was a Kickstarter anthology about ecological uncertainties by a diverse band of international speculative fiction authors. I'm reading that straight off the Kickstarter page, and I'm really excited for that to come out later in the year, and that's an anthology of short stories. Number 5, biggest disappointment. Ooh, good question. I think it was Words of Mercury by Patrick Leigh Fermor. I really like his individual, like full-length novels, but this is extracts and articles and stuff strung together, and it was just too bitty to really get into. My friend said he always feels like he's being talked at a bit. I do get that feeling from Fermor, but it's like, you know, in the Wombles, when the little Wombles sit on their parents' lap and drift off to sleep listening to the sounds of their voices. That's how I feel when I have a book that's talking at me, you know, so long as they're not doing it in a patronising or they're just, so long as it's just going on about something they're passionate about rather than talking down to me. That's how I feel. So I quite like that about his books in general, but this book in particular felt a bit bitty, and I was disappointed with it. Biggest surprise, now that's going to be The Bells by Donielle Clayton. I really was not looking forward to reading the book. The more I read about it, the more I felt like it just wasn't going to be my cup of tea. And actually I found it quite gripping and I quite liked it. I know I wasn't massively enthusiastic about it in last week's video, but I was expecting to not like it at all, and I did like it. So this is a book about beauty standards, and I don't think it quite hits the mark of being critical about beauty standards, but it's also about love and friendship, which, you know, I always like books about love and friendship. And yeah, so I mean, give it a go if you feel like that's the sort of thing you're interested in. I was pleasantly surprised. 7, favourite new author, that's going to be Martha Wells. I read the first of the Murderbot Diaries this year, and I was not convinced until I tried it, and then I was utterly gripped. So yeah, Martha Wells. Number 8, newest fictional crush. I don't really do fictional crushes. I'm looking through the books I've read, and I'm sorry, I'm not seeing anything. Sorry. 9, newest favourite character, Tess from Tess of the Road by Rachel Hartman. She's adorable. The whole book is very positive. It's about this character Tess, who is the sister of Sabrina from the Sabrina books by Rachel Hartman. She goes on a journey of self-discovery in which she kind of leaves her family behind and has to kind of learn who she is. But she's adorable, and she comes to kind of realise that some of the problems in her life are of her own making, but she owns that. She absolutely owns her faults, and she grows so much over the course of the book, and she's just really sweet. Yeah, that's all. 10, book that made you cry. I cry at almost every book. I cry all the time. But I think probably the most recent book that made me cry was The Wizard of Oz, which I was reading at bedtime. There's a bit where everything looks like it's getting positive, and then it all crashes, or not crashes, but it all flies out of their hands. And yeah, so that's probably it. Hi, it's Kirsten, and today I'm in Finland, and I'm bringing you a mid-year freakout tag. It was really weird last night. I just realised I woke up at 3 o'clock and I looked out the window and it didn't quite look as dark enough to be twilight yet. So I suddenly realised that this is the furthest north I've ever been, and I just can't even, like, this is absolutely the right time of the year to be the furthest north you've ever been. It's crazy. But this is the mid-year freakout tag, and I've got open my Goodreads page and the questions, and I haven't prepared at all, so, you know, I haven't even got a cup of coffee. Look, empty, sad. So I'm just going to be answering as I go along. Okay, number one, the best book you've read so far in 2019, and this is a tough one because I've read some stonking books. And in fact, next week's video I'm going to be talking about the Hugo Awards nominated novels, and I'm going to be like, I don't decide, help me decide. But I think that I'm going to narrow it down to 3 books. I've read 53 books so far this year. I'm going to narrow it down to 3 books, 2 of which are Hugo nominated, and they are the 2 Hugo nominated ones first. The Calculating Stars by Mary Robinette Kowal. This is an alternate history of how space travel went, and in this book there's a meteor that hits the Earth, and it made the space program have to be really accelerated, and it's all about how that happened, and it's in a series called The Lady Astronaut. In this we follow our pilot hero who had never been allowed to play with big boys because she was a woman, and a white woman, so she was allowed to fly a plane. And it's all about, she comes to notice racism a lot through the course of the book, through the course of meeting African Americans and becoming friends with African Americans, and also Chinese Americans, Taiwanese Americans. So it's a lot about her awakening and her realizing stuff. She's also Jewish, which makes it interesting when she has to work with Nazis. And interesting, I mean deeply, deeply uncomfortable in a good way. But it's just a brilliant book. If you liked Hidden Figures and you like fiction, then this is the book for you. So for some reason there's something weird with my editing software and I can't get text in, so if there's no text, that's why. I'm sorry. Okay, the second book is Record of a Spaceborne Feud by Becky Chambers. I got to the end of this book and I really wanted to just drop the author an email to thank her for writing the book. Is that a thing you're allowed to do? Is that a thing that's acceptable? I don't know. Let me know. But this is slice of life in space. It's about family, it's about growing up, it's about love, it's a bit of murder mystery. It's just perfect. And it's part of the Wayfarer series. Everyone is completely different, but the last book was really grim in some ways. In fact, both of the last 2 books were quite grim. This book isn't grim. This book is just nice. I really like it. Really liked it. And the third book I'm going to mention at this point is The Lost Girl by Anne Ursu. I mentioned that before. I said it was probably going to be my favourite book of the year. It's a middle grade book aimed at 8 to 12-year-olds. And it's about family, it's about sisterhood, it's about building each other up. It's perfect, it's a quick read, it's beautiful, and I'm so glad I read it. I'm so glad it was written. Okay, the second book, best sequel I've read so far in 2019, well, that's going to be the Becky Chambers. Should have saved it for this if I'd read it. Number 3, new release you haven't read yet but want to. I'm not sure I have my finger that closely on the pulse of anything that's coming out. There are some of the Murderbot Diaries by Martha Wells, which I haven't read yet. And these are from the perspective of a cyborg who is designed to protect people but is quite violent, who's suddenly gone rogue. They become their own master of their own fate, and it's funny, it's sweet, the bot is very relatable, and there's a couple more in that series which I haven't read yet, so I guess that. 4, most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Okay, so number 11, book that made you happy. I think most recently was The Calculating Stars by Mary Robin McCowell, but I'm going to go back and think of some other things. Space Opera by Catherine Enviati was really good and really light and fluffy. It's Eurovision in space. That made me happy. Quite a lot of them have been quite happy books. I've been really enjoying my daughter reading through The Roman Mysteries by Caroline Lawrence. If you like classics and you like mysteries and you like books aimed at the 8 to 12-year-olds, then they're absolutely brilliant and I'd highly recommend them. Okay, 12. Most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. Oh my goodness. I haven't bought a lot of books this year because I've been away most of the year. And what I have has largely been ebook. There's nothing there that really stands out as like, oh, this cover is so utterly gorgeous. And I haven't got anything to hold up for you, I'm sorry. What about you? Let me know. And 13, what books do I need to read by the end of the year? I've got a couple of prompt systems going on at the same time, so I'll pick ones that fit those prompts. Those is to have 2 books with the same title. So I guess the answer is Tempest Rising by Nicole Peeler. This is it's a mermaid book, I think. It's got supernatural creatures, nothing can be taken for granted. It mentions, like the Goodreads says, if you like Snooky Stackhouse, you'll probably want to read this. I think there might be some mystery going on. So yeah, I guess that. And I'm sorry for not having really been paying attention to what's coming out or what's going on. I'm just kind of living in my own Kindle and from the what's been award nominated that I need to read. Oh yeah, I tried to read all the novellas for the Hugo Awards. So the ones I still need to read are Binti the Night Masquerade by Nnedi Okorafor, The Black God's Drums by P. Jelly Clark, which I've already started, God's Monsters and the Lucky Peach by Kelly Robson, and The Tea Master and the Detective by Aliette Bodard. And those are all going to be speculative fiction, but I don't know much about any of them. So I guess I'll see how that goes, and I will see you again next week. Bye!